What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pure Evil MMA. I'm your host, as always, Evil Eddie here on Pure Evil MMA, brought to you guys from MyMMAnews.com. It is Sunday night here on the East Coast, and we have a special guest with us here today, part of Team Cyborgs, Cyborg Nation. We got Mercy on the line. How you doing today, Mercy?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing good. So obviously today's Sunday and a weird day because we had to start today's morning off with a little bit of MMA action for us here on the East Coast, at least. But at the same time, as annoying as it is, it's only fair for the fans across the seas over in Europe. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing the recap for you guys here today. I will be discussing it on Tuesday's live stream. But really quickly, just my thought about it is, Shogun Rua, undefeated, or not undefeated, but going on a 4-year run here, which is surprising a lot of people out there. And then you have somebody like Anthony Smith, who's not a new face, but at time right now, he's on a rocket ship to the top, like Kenny Florian's saying, man, and he's trying to keep that momentum because once it ends, and it's hard to rebuild. So it's awesome seeing the younger guys. Well, in this case, I guess you can say Anthony has more fights, but hasn't fought the top echelon like Shogun Rua has. Well, he was able to get the finish, but outside of that fight, there was nonstop decisions. Mercy was just telling me that she was watching the card and it was pretty painful to watch through most of it just because it's the morning time, and if you're not seeing finishes, it's really hard to, be entertained, really. Like, let's face it.
Well, it's definitely painful, to say the least.
But you know what? There's so much going on in the MMA world, and that's not what today's show is all about. Today's show is actually going to be circling about one of the hottest topics going on right now inside the MMA community, going around on every big MMA website. Obviously, we're talking about Cris Cyborg today because we have Cyborg Nation's own Mercy joining us, and there's all the news surrounding, all the news surrounding Cris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes. We're going to jump into that. If you guys have any questions, make sure you guys subscribe down below here on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes. Now we're on Spotify. But Mercy, let's start the show off with this. Cris Cyborg versus Amanda Nunes. There is no way Amanda wasn't aware that this was probably going to be the next fight, especially with the way the UFC has been doing these champ versus champ fights.
Well, let's rewind just so we can put facts out.
Okay.
Because it seems like a lot of fans are confused about how the timeline went.
Okay.
Actually, Nunes said last year, prior to the Cris and Holly Holm fight at 219, she said that she wasn't interested in the fight. Whenever she was asked, she said, "Oh, I'm not interested. I'd have to gain too much weight. It would take me a year. That's not something she was interested in." And both she and Cris agreed that, they could be great at their own divisions. Then all of a sudden, Dana came into the equation, and he decided that was the fight to make. And that is how this got started. Because then Nunes interjected and said, "Oh yeah, I want to make this fight." And it's the fight. All of a sudden, it came out of nowhere. This was the fight she wanted. But it was because the bantamweight division, there wasn't a fight really for her to make. The only available person really at the time was Holly Holm. So it was either Holly Holm was going to fight Cris, or Holly Holm was going to fight Nunes, or Nunes and Cris were going to fight. That's really how this all started. But she started calling Cris out over a year ago.
And let's be real here. I mean, Cris Cyborg, she's been a staple in the women's MMA, community for years now, starting with that win over Shayna Baszler all the way back when, then beating Gina Carano. I mean, Cris Cyborg's been a huge name. The only issue with it, if people aren't aware who Cris Cyborg is, you might be new to the show because I'm aware that we have a lot of new listeners here. Maybe a new MMA fan that's maybe never seen Cris Cyborg fight. Cris Cyborg's such a staple. They really brought her over here thinking that she was going to be dominant because, there was no 145-pound division, so it made a lot of people worried, but Ronda Rousey was on top, and that was the fight to make at the time. So they tried making it work. Unfortunately, Ronda Rousey got dipped out, and we all know the story, what happened with that. If you don't, you can do your own research. But Cris Cyborg is really the up runner for female fighting right now, and the other girl is Amanda Nunes currently. And now that Holly Holm is out of the picture, Amanda Nunes is the only girl really left right now to fight that sparks any interest, I think, to MMA fans. Because let's face it, the MMA 145-pound division in the UFC is very shallow, and we're going to be talking about them opening up that division a little more with the Ultimate Fighter. But to me, this is the trending way right now of the UFC is champ versus champ.
It is champ versus champ, but let's not get it confused. There's a very big difference between a Cris Cyborg fight and a champ Nunes fight. One is a draw and one is not. Cris pulled numbers at I believe, on March 3rd. I believe that was 222 on 3 weeks' notice. She still pulled bigger numbers on that fight than Nunes did on 224. Now that's arguable because UFC didn't promote 224 for Pennington and Nunes, but none of Chris's fights have been promoted. They've all basically been last minute. So technically, no, there's a difference. Cris is a draw. And it doesn't matter who Cris fights. It doesn't matter if she's fighting a big name or a small name. Cyborg Nation is showing up for Cris. It doesn't matter what organization she fights with. Cyborg Nation shows up for Cris.
And this is a big issue. I mean, we got the chat room actually checking in. Henry Ford saying Cyborg isn't a draw. People are saying steroid monster. And this is the argument a lot of the times, it seems. But you know what? Cris Cyborg, man, she's been proving herself. She's been tested. She proved that USADA was wrong with that whole that almost derailed her career because everybody threw her under the bus. And, you know, we all saw the videos of her cutting weight and how difficult it was. And that's all being figured out. But Cris Cyborg's getting so frustrated because she's not being promoted. Amanda Nunes, at the same time, she's not being promoted either in my eyes, because look at the Ronda Rousey fight. They didn't even acknowledge her. With the new owners of WMEIMG, I heard rumors backstage that one of the head guys didn't even know Amanda's name or who Ronda was fighting that day, which is just, it's crazy. Like, what is missing here for these women to actually get the boost? I mean, they've given Amanda UFC 200 headliner. She's headlined a couple of events now, but it's not bringing in as much numbers. So with Cris Cyborg, I think Cris Cyborg is definitely a draw for the people who are aware of who she is and what she's accomplished.
I gotta give a shout out to Chris's team. She has an amazing team. I know people get frustrated with them from time to time, and they have all these things to say. But Chris's team, they put on a show. It's a completely different situation when you go to a UFC show that has Cris headlining versus some of these other champs. Chris's team puts together the after party. They've got the before parties. They've got everything you can think of, promotional gear. They put together charity events, everything you could think of, anything you could think of to promote that fight themselves. UFC has not helped them any more than they've helped Nunes. It's just that Cris and her team are non-stop workers. Primetime 360, her manager, I mean, he's a beast, and that comes with experience. And I don't knock Nunes for that. They just haven't been in the game as long as Cris, and Cris is used to, you know, having to be, you know, promoting herself.
Well, look at who she's around. Like you're saying, you got, you know, the man who discovered her is freaking Tito Ortiz. She's around BJ Penn, George Lockhart, Robert Emerson, who's a frequent guest here on Pure Evil MMA. She's surrounded by some great people, and they too are getting frustrated. I know that they go on a lot of shows to help promote too. They've been doing documentaries. These are all things that are huge. Ray Elby put together that documentary that you guys can all go on YouTube right now. Type in Cris Cyborg. It's about almost an hour-long documentary. There's even the weight cutting videos. Like, all this stuff is all helping her, you know, get into the spotlight as much as she can, as much as they can control. But the UFC, I mean, in my eyes, they are opening up the 145-pound division. And now with this whole Ultimate Fighter coming about, it's definitely opening up some doors. Are you aware who's going to be on this season? Because I have not double-checked the list here.
The only person I actually know who's going to be on there is Leah Lenson, which is really strange because she was already signed to UFC. She was supposed to fight Chris's opponent, who she faced March 3rd. I cannot say her name. I'm sorry, guys.
We know who you're talking about.
I can't say it. I'm not even going to attempt to botch it. But you all know what I'm talking about. Chris fought her March 3rd. That fighter was supposed to fight Leah Lenson at 145, actually, in UFC before the emergency came up and Cris had to save the day with saving the card, and they pulled that fighter to go fight Cris. So, I never can overlook how big of an impact Cyborg Nation fans and fans of whoever your favorite fighter are. I just have the experience with Cyborg, but Cyborg Nation fans make a huge difference. We impact the way UFC and Dana and them think, because it's all about money for them. We know that. We know that the model has changed. It's not a tournament. It's all about who is going to sell what.
And that's totally true.
If fans are quiet, maybe you're not going to sell.
That's totally true. I've even had fighters confirm that, you know, even if you're hot and cold, like let's say, for instance, somebody like, you know, a minimal comparison to Cris Cyborg, somebody like Mike Perry, who, you know, he's been hot and cold. As of late, he's putting together a couple fight win streak, but every time he steps in there, you know damn well. Look at Justin Gaethje. That's an even better example. Even though he's on a 2-fight losing streak, there are people that want to tune in because they know every time he steps in there, he's going to put on an amazing fight.
Exactly. So it sounds ridiculous to me for people to say that she's not a draw. No, she is a draw, because in 8/15/2009, it was the Carano versus Cyborg show. And that was the first time two women headlined a major MMA event. And that event peaked at like 856 or 857,000 viewers. And it set a record with Showtime. Cris has been setting records for years, long before there was ever even a inkling of a thought of Ronda Rousey. So Cris came first. There were women that came before her, but as far as like who was the first big thing, there was Cris.
Yeah.
There are other pioneers that I absolutely love. I'm sure we don't have time for me to go through them all, but yeah, Cris came first.
And you know what?
Especially with the girls we were talking about that are in the field right now.
This is a huge issue, and I'm not trying to put any kind of bash on the UFC, but it just seems like right now we all were expecting, let me rewind, we were all expecting once UFC sold for $4 billion to WMEIMG that we were going to get more promotional tools for these fighters with people like Conan O'Brien, Ben Affleck, and all these big names that are going to be a part of the UFC to enter the Hollywood scene or late night shows and stuff like that to help promote. I haven't really seen much promotion at all for a lot of the fighters, not any better than Lorenzo was doing. I mean, I could say that maybe they're bringing the WWE format over, like people say all the time. But I don't know. They're just not doing as much as they could be doing. And I know that this is frustrating, Cris, because recently she brought up, and this was a fan question from, oh man, Al. I wrote it down, and I'll get it in a second. But he was like, Cris has been commenting lately on saying there's only one fight left on my contract. I might leave the UFC if this doesn't get figured out.
I have the quote written down. It did come from Al, and that was a very good question. Because it was just, he said, it's at Almo 750.
There it is.
He asked, well, I think the biggest question would be with Cris having just one fight left on the contract and her talking about potentially signing elsewhere. What promotions are best suited to take her in? Now, I have the answer for that question, in my opinion. Let me just state for the record, I'm speaking as my opinion. Some people sometimes seem to think that I work for Cris or something like that. I don't. And P.S. I'm not Ray, because I get that question all the time. No, I'm not Ray.
They think Ray's running the Twitter account?
Yeah.
That's great.
I get that all the time.
That's great.
Say that my Twitter feed is Ray. No, it's me. I'm Mercy. I got a big mouth, and you guys see me at all of Chris's fights. And yeah, no, it's me. But I personally, in relation to Al's question, would say, I've been saying it. This isn't something new. I almost think, when I think of Cris, I almost think of UFC and Dana White and that whole shenanigans as like a bad, abusive boyfriend. Like, they want her, but they don't want her. They just don't want somebody else to have her, is really what it is. So they don't want Bellator to get Cris, because how can you say you're the biggest MMA promoters out, but you don't have the best women's MMA fighter around. You can't go around and promote a belt of any sort, and you don't have the best. So, in my opinion, Cris could go to Bellator very easily. Scott Corker would immediately start the world tour, the World Cris Cyborg tour. I promise you, she'd be on top of everything, on every promotion you could think of that Bellator would come up with. Just look what they did with Cheeto.
And you know what?
It would be that times 10 because Cris is still in her prime.
Isn't that a shame, though? Because, Bellator is trying to make a bigger promotion for themselves. They do have that TV format. They're not bringing in the best numbers, but let's face it, UFC's pay-per-view model is not working out right now. I mean, you have to pay $70 every 2 weeks. It's very frustrating.
I don't know who can afford the UFC new model.
Yeah. And
normal, everyday fans like most of us. And I know I go to a lot of fights, but I go to Chris's fights only. So I'll put that disclaimer out there. But yeah, nobody can afford it because you got to be able to pay for what's it called, Fight Pass, and now they got this new thing with
ESPN Plus, yeah.
And you've got to be able to pay for the pay-per-views, and then it seems like there's a pay-per-view like every other weekend. So if you're gonna stay on top of like their MMA news, it's gonna cost you quite a bit of money a month. It's like a car payment. Like I don't think that Dana, maybe because he has so much money, he doesn't realize, but for everyday Americans, yeah, that's a lot. Never mind Americans, anybody in the country, in the world, that's a lot of money. You're talking about, they raised the price to what, $65?
$70, yeah.
A month. You're talking about what, $130 right there. You got to pay for your Fight Pass. That's $140, and then whatever this new thing is, this with ESPN, that's gonna be another $20. So now we're like up to like $150. I mean, it's like a never-ending cycle. And if you actually want to go to a fight, oh, forget about it, because that's thousands when you get done. So yeah, they're not really thinking about their fan base.
And you know what is also frustrating? They're almost attacking their fan base as of late. I mean, getting rid of Instagram accounts. They got rid of Robin Black's account. It's now back, but they got rid of my Instagram account. Like all these people that put their time and effort to literally sit there and help promote the organization they're attacking. When you're putting a highlight clip on an Instagram page, like at least on mine, I was reaching 500,000 people a week on my Instagram. That's a lot of people. And I'm on one account. This is crazy.
Come, right?
It's crazy.
So it makes no sense. But the point of them doing that, in my opinion, is they know how powerful when fans get together, and there are people like you and other people who have like these large fan bases that you can speak to. They can't control the narrative. If they can't control the narrative, then they can't tell fans who their new media model is for who's the best fighter, i.e. Ronda. They just kept telling fans, she's better, she's better, she's better, she's better. But for real fight fans, if you ever looked at Ronda's resume and looked at Chris's resume, you'd have to be, deaf, dumb, blind, stupid. I don't really know. I don't even have the words for what you'd have to be to think that there was ever a chance that Ronda was going to be able to compete with Cris. The resumes don't match up. She didn't have the experience. She was a great judoka, and I'll never take that from her. But that's where her experience is. But this is MMA. If you look it up in a dictionary, Chris's face should be on the definition of what MMA is. And maybe people don't know, but Cris in 2009 was she got a bronze medal in submission wrestling. In 2011, 2012, she was the IBJFF world champion at purple belt. She took gold. Cris took Muay Thai fights that nobody else would take.
Like Adrena Bars, yeah.
Bars said nobody would fight her. Cris took that fight. I don't care that she lost. She took that fight with two Muay Thai fights behind her. Actually, one was kickboxing. But one kickboxing, one Muay Thai, and yes, there's a difference for those of you that don't know. There is a difference between Muay Thai and kickboxing. But One was Muay Thai, one was kickboxing, and then she took on Joanna Bars, who was undefeated, something like a 10-time world champ, and she took her to the judges. Like, she didn't finish her; she took her to the judges.
Yeah, you know what? That was a huge fight, and Cris and Jarina Bars are actually really close friends now, which is actually crazy.
They have a mutual respect for each other. Yes.
And I've had Jarina Bars on the show before, and I even asked her, I was like, you know, and I just recently reposted this to my Instagram page if anyone wants to see it. I asked her, and I was like, do you have any advice for Cyborg's next opponent? And she chuckled. She was like, advice for Cyborg's next opponent? Yeah, work hard and keep your hands up. Like, good luck.
I mean, basically, the advice you give Chris's next opponent is don't let the mattress come out. I mean, Cris, for those of you that are new and don't know, Cris has a finishing ratio of an insane 82% over a 13-year MMA pro career. 82% of her fights are finished.
Just to rewind really quick here, Mercy, you're saying that, you know, if Ronda Rousey versus Cris Cyborg, I mean, we will never find out what would actually happen, and that's so unfortunate. But one of the big reasons,
match up. Like nothing in that resume matches up.
I would love to see that fight. We might not ever know, but I wanted to see that fight so bad. After she beat Holly Holm, though, I think that was like a proving point to a lot of people. Like, wow, like people were saying, all right, if Holly Holm beats Cris Cyborg, she's going to be, and I know it's thrown around all the time, the GOAT.
Exactly.
And Cris finished her. Didn't finish her, but won.
No problem.
Yeah, every round.
I do believe she walked through those head kicks. I'm not taking anything from Holly Holm. Holly Holm is an excellent striker. Obviously, we know what her boxing career was. Hey, the
top 3 in the world.
Is a great fighter.
top 3 in the world easily. Top 3 or 4.
She's a great fighter.
Yeah.
Now her MMA record, recently is a little shaky with that, but that really doesn't have as much to do with her striking as it does as her overall MMA game, which is the same thing that I'm saying about Ronda when you compare Ronda to Cris. There is no one that compares to Cris except Nunes. Nunes is about as close as I can think in WMMA right now that compares with Cris, because Nunes is a black belt and BJJ, Cris is a brown belt and BJJ. Cris practices and has been practicing. I'm not sure what the ranking is, but Cris has been practicing her judo as long as they've been talking about there being a Ronda Rousey and Cris fight. So Cris has the judo in her belt too. Cris has competed with Olympic wrestlers and beat them.
Yeah, she's like training Gabby Garcia right now, and yeah, it's crazy.
And she's got the BJJ down pat. So that's ground game, which, you know, they would say Nunes is close in that, but I don't know. Then you take it to the feet. Nunes has a strong right hand, but that's about where it ends. Cris has actually been technically fighting because she wants to be able to box. So Cris has been improving her game. So while everybody else is trying to catch up, that's what Rusi never did. Everybody was trying to catch Rusi and learn how to defend his armbar. You can't learn how to defend Cris because she's always evolving. She's always on to the next thing. And her next thing right now is boxing.
She has a crazy routine, too.
Stupid, crazy. At this point,
she's
been training with the best.
she runs like 6 or 7 miles a day. I mean,
her cardio is insane.
Yeah,
her training in boxing is insane. She went and stayed in Thailand for God only knows how long. I lost track of how long she was in Thailand because I was like, are we gonna get something other than from Funky Team is who it is in Thailand. I'm like, I love them, but can we have our Cris back? You know, but that's how much time she's been embedded with them over there, which is how I know she's ready to beat Bars in a rematch.
Hey.
And also how I know that it's nothing that Nunes can bring to this game that Cris is not better at. Ring the bell. Let's ring the bell. The school teacher is going to come in and teach her a lesson because she called Chris's name. And I said to Nunes when she first said Chris's name, don't do that. You all just stay in your own lanes. But she kept calling her name, kept calling her name, kept calling her name. Cris, everybody knows, is WMMA's Candy Woman. You cannot just keep saying Chris's name and think she's not going to respond. Cris is going to respond. And her response is going to be, okay, well then let's fight.
Hey, Mercy, stay right there. First off, the live chat is giving you a shout out. Jessica Mandel says, Mercy, I agree with all she says. And there's actually a question for you, but Oscar, my dog, literally just locked himself in the closet just now. Like I watched him go in there.
I had to put my dog in his bed.
I just watched him walk in there and shut the door behind him. So let me just let him out really quick. But answer this question from Henry Ford. D wants to know, she said she is friends with everyone she fought except for Magana. She might have already adopted her niece. But there's a question from the MMA holes. Cris says, does Mercy think that Cris Cyborg will ever settle down and have a family of little Borgs?
Absolutely. The baby Borgs are on the way. Oh my God. This is the one thing that most of us in Cyborg Nation are looking forward to. I know that hopefully I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said, but I'm pretty positive I read this already online. But her and Ray are engaged. So it's just a matter of time when they get married and when we get some baby boys. And Cris did just adopt her niece, and we all love her niece. And I mean, Cris has phenomenal things going on in her personal life, which is why, just for the record, Cris had already stated that she didn't fight Nunes at 224. She was doing family things. And if everybody else can get time off to, go have their babies and do whatever, surely she could have some time off after rescuing 222 with 3 weeks notice. Surely she could have some time to go and adopt her niece and bring her to the U.S. and get her settled. And she still said she'd fight at 226, which just a couple of weeks later. But I'm convinced that is what UFC is trying to quote-unquote punish her for. And that's why they don't care that they're trying to put this fight off till December. It's a UFC way of punishing fighters. That's what they do. If you say no to them, then they put your fight off. We've seen that happen time and time again. I mean, this isn't only Cris. It's other fighters too. You don't take some fight that they want you to take. You might not be fighting for a long time.
I mean, you bring up a good point about Bellator before too, saying that, listen, when she came over to the UFC, the goal was really to have her fight Ronda Rousey. And one of the comments here in the comment section from Henry Ford, he said Henry Ford saying Dana wanted a side piece to thrive on Ronda Rousey. That was like the big thing. Do you think that's why he's not giving her any attention anymore? Is because Ronda's really gone? Or?
Dana, no. Nobody ever get it twisted. Dana knew that Ronda was never going to be able to beat Cyborg. Hands down, he knew that. But he also knew that Ronda in the U.S. was going to be quote-unquote more marketable because of her look, because of just the trash talking that she picked up, not from the fight scene, the trash talking that she picked up from, wrestling, WWE, which is what she's doing right now. So I've been calling that for years. But she picked that up and she put that into UFC, and it worked. People bought into it. People bought into the hype. But it was a media hype. It was never any skill that you could see outside of her judoka skills. Nobody can tell me what Rousey improved on. What actually did she improve on from the day that she got there? Absolutely nothing. Her striking never improved.
I will.
To her mom, that was the worst decision she ever made, to keep her coach.
Yeah.
And she would have never been ready to fight Cris. Dana knew that, so he was never going to match them up. Never.
There were some issues there with Ronda Rousey and, what happened there. But I will disagree with you saying, at the time she was making a huge splash. I mean, she was finishing every girl that they put in front of her.
Doing what?
But I will agree with you here. she didn't improve much. I mean, they were trying to say she was a boxer now. Mike Tyson, they were saying she was the next female Mike Tyson. She was on the cover of Boxing. She was on the cover of Boxing magazine.
Which was a disgrace.
When they were doing the promo video for Amanda Nunes versus Ronda Rousey, it opened up with her in a gym boxing. Her number one thing was the armbar, and that was her biggest mistake. Even though she didn't improve, that was the thing that got her to the dance. And I feel like if she kept doing that, maybe she would have lasted a little bit longer instead of thinking that she had this knockout power.
Yeah. She just stuck to what she was good at.
Yeah.
What got her to the dance.
To the dance.
Her
yeah.
judo.
Exactly.
I mean, it's what she was an expert at. Nobody, even I'm the number one Cyborg fan, but if there's another one behind me, nobody can deny that Ronda had some severe skills, but it was as a judoka. She learned some defense, but her actual striking skills, give me a break.
Yeah.
She was never going to stand and bang with Cris. She'd have got nothing.
There's some funny videos out there, too. And I'm not trying to put a diss on Ronda Rousey. Please don't get me wrong. I know I'm a journalist.
I'm not giving her credit for being
No, I mean me. I mean, don't get me wrong.
That's not MMA though. MMA is not one technicality or another. That's not what MMA is. MMA is mixed martial arts. So you have to be an expert at more than one thing, which Cris is. And even though I know people are going to say she lost to Joanna Bars, she stood and banged with the world's best Muay Thai fighter.
And that was a huge boost for Joanna Bars' career. When you ever hear Joanna Bars get brought up, on Joe Rogan, and I don't want Joanna to hear this and get upset, but that's a huge accomplishment. Yeah, I mean, for Joanna, that's a huge accomplishment, and that is what's going to stand out when there's a girl there that is such a dominant force that no one else has been able to figure out. And like you said, she didn't finish her, but that was a brutal fight. Joanna Bars is the best kickboxer. Cris went over to line fight to improve on her Muay Thai skills. She didn't just go in there and try to box like Ronda was trying to do.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
She didn't go in there and try to just fake the funk. She went in there and actually gave it her all. But the thing about Cris that we all learned from that fight is she's got a chin of steel, because those knees and those kicks that Joanna was dealing, woo! Anybody else would have been out of there. I mean, out of there. Knocked out cold. Not Cris.
And you guys can go on.
Got back up.
You guys can go on YouTube and just simply search that fight. But that is really the only flaw, like you said. That's the only flaw on Cris Cyborg's on her resume. It's not even a flaw because it's not MMA. So
it's not even an MMA fight.
I agree.
And so to me, it's not a flaw. It's really showing the strength of her MMA resume.
I love that you said that. It's so true.
In her MMA resume, nobody has been able to do that. She stepped outside of her sport, went and fought on somebody else's rules in a different sport's rules, their setting, their everything. She did that on her third attempt.
Yeah.
And she took it to a decision, which is why I say, and I have been saying, and I was the one to bring it up about Cris fighting Brickets. I brought that up almost 4 years ago now. I think Cris can beat Brickets.
Listen,
and even if she didn't beat Brickets, what would it hurt? Cris is not going to get knocked down. Cris, if anything, Brickets is going to beat her on points. But if Cris gets in there and does the work, Cris knocks out Brickets in just a couple of rounds. It's not going to take long. Them hands that Cris has, that chin she has, that's hard. That's hard to match. It almost makes you ask, for real, is she human? I happen to know she's human, but it'll make you ask, is she human?
So we got a question here for you inside the chat room, inside the live chat. And just a quick reminder, if we have any new listeners or watchers, viewers, whatever you want, whatever this is, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, because that will help our channel get a little bit more popularity here. We could definitely use that on YouTube. But iTunes, man, if you are listening to this on iTunes and you are a new listener, I see you. Thank you so much. And thank you for your questions in the chat room right now. Jessica Medell says, ask Mercy, how does she feel Julia Budd would do? Besides Nunes, that's the only other person I think is close to worthy. Now, before you answer that question there, Mercy, I will throw this out there for anybody that isn't too familiar with who Julia Budd is. I mean, Julia Budd, Yeah, I mean, I was going to bring this up, but I'm glad that Jessica did because it's a good transition. Shows that people know what they're talking about out there. Julia Budd, she's the champion over in Bellator. I've interviewed Julia Budd about 3 years ago, and we had this discussion. I mean, she's only lost to Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. So, you know, now answer Jessica Mandel's question. How do you think she would do against Julia Budd?
I answered this online the other day, and I promise, I mean no disrespect to these women, because these women and the women's featherweight, let me just put this disclaimer out there. These women in the women's featherweight division, I actually like them all. I want to see them all do very well. Cris has got to have competition. You can't have a one-sided fight. Now, with that said, Bud don't want no parts of Cris. Come on, y'all. Bud admitted herself. Read the article. I believe it was BJPen.com that posted the article with the interview from Bud. And in the article, she tells how earlier in both of their careers, I mean, they're pretty close in career time, but earlier in both of their careers, Bud wanted no parts of Cris. And she walked away from Cris. Now, these aren't Chris's words. These are Bud's words. She walked away because Cris was, quote, unquote, now this you can quote from that article, Cris was killing people in the cage. She was not prepared at that point in her career to get killed in the cage. So I don't really have to say very much more than that. Bud don't want no part of that work from Cris. And she knows it. However, if Cris doesn't re-sign the contract with UFC,
that's where she's headed.
We might have ourselves a showdown, and I will be all for it in front and center, in the front row, and screaming my head off and promoting both of them women, mostly because Bud is second best. No, hands down, I won't take that from her. She's second best at women's featherweight, but I take real issue with her even thinking that she's even remotely close to Chris's level. Like, she's just not. There are levels to this game. Isn't that what they say? There are levels to this game. She's not at Chris's level. She might be at the top of her game with all the other women's featherweight fighters. Cris is a whole nother league. That's a walking legend you're looking at. It's not even close. But it's a fight I want to see. I'd pay to see it.
And whoever beats her inside the octagon or inside the Bellator ring, whatever may happen here, is going to really make a name for themselves as the person who finally beat Cyborg.
Whoever takes the risk, whoever takes the chance that maybe they catch, anybody can be beat on any day. This is mixed martial arts. It's martial arts. Anything can happen. You could be having a bad day, bad weight cut. You could have just got caught. Anything can happen. So I'm not saying that Cris is invincible by any means. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying Chris's game is really dope, and she's got a lot of cage experience. I mean, you're talking about somebody who can adjust, and she's got a chin, and she's got those hands. So it's hard for me to see who's going to beat her, but that's not to say it couldn't be done.
Let's keep it 100.
People like Pam Sorensen and Cindy
Dandios, yeah,
and Adina Gomes. Is that? I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Who are calling her out, and Cris is welcoming them to fight. They're ranked women's featherweight fighters. They are top 10 fighters. They've been in the game a long time, especially Gomes. She's been in the game a long time. And she was fighting men. I mean, she's been in the game so long, she fought a man and won. So these women have been in the game a long time.
JDR. You're talking about Jermaine Durand. Jermaine Durand-me. That's who you're talking about here?
No. We're talking about Adina Gomes.
Okay. Yeah, because JDR has been left out of all of this here.
Ace Bandage Queen. And Cyborg Nation knows what that means. Both are Ace Bandage Queen. No, we're not talking about her. We're talking about Adina Gomes, who's been calling out Cris for years. It's just that these orgs are so caught up on what these women fighters look like that
hey,
they don't necessarily get all.
Let me say this. Let me say this, Mercy. Anyone out there, and this is actually one of the questions that just got that. Hold on, let me bring this in. That's really funny. This is one of the questions that just got brought in here. It says, ask Mercy what she thinks about Rogan and Dana White roasting her about being Vanderlei Silva in a dress, etc. And I was going to bring this up, and it pissed me off at the time, and I went off about it because anybody in their seat, anybody like Dana White, Joe Rogan, and they did apologize for it. They crossed the line there. You never make fun of a woman. You never call a woman fat. You never say anything rude or disrespectful about, especially about somebody that works for you or is in the industry that you're trying to promote and make a name for. Also, Cris Cyborg is very pretty. She's looked like this as a little girl. Her mother looks just like her mother. I mean, people were like, oh, steroids were a big thing. I mean, prove it. Because her mother looks just like her. And there's nothing wrong with Cris Cyborg. Come on.
Here's what I say. First of all, to the haters, look through your photo album if you ever took a bad photo. I mean,
hey, I'm guilty of it.
I got plenty of them. And everybody on Twitter basically is around if they have their own picture, self-editing pictures. Well, Cris doesn't get to self-edit her pictures, so whatever pictures that they put out there is what they put out there. So hate on that, first of all.
Don't throw stones in a glass house.
You need to go run a lap or not. That's my first thought to that. My second thought was I got kicked off Twitter because at that time I got put in Twitter jail.
Oh.
Because, when Dana and Joe Rogan went on that rampage.
Oh, you went sick?
My response was so over the top that I got put in Twitter jail, so I won't even repeat.
Hey, but how could they have the freedom of speech and you not? It's freedom of speech, right? Unless it's being violent or threatening.
You don't get to have the freedom of speech. It doesn't work that way. But Dana and his kickboxing aerobics class, which we've all seen the picture of. And if you all haven't, I'll be sure to post it right after the call. Of him teaching kickboxing, he has no room to talk about anything about actually any of these fighters. But since I'm Chris's #1 fan, I'm talking about her. But there's a whole lot of other fighters this applies to. He's just a negative Nancy, and he beats down on them, and he goes in on them time after time after time after time, and these people are making him money. Cris is making him money. Maybe it's not the Rusi money because they haven't marketed Cris the way they marketed Rusi, but she's making money regardless of the fact that they haven't promoted her. Now, I can't say the same for Nunes, which takes us back to that. Right?
Yes, perfect.
Like, it takes us back to the difference between the teams. And what I will say as a disclaimer is Nunes' team is not as experienced, is not as well-rounded as Chris's team, which is why when this first fight came up, I specifically said Nunes should take the back seat. Let Chris's team take the lead because they are more experienced in dealing with UFC and these negotiations because, quite frankly, UFC was not really all that thrilled about promoting either one of them. So you can't even really just say it's Cris or Nunes. No, I don't like either one of them. It's just that, and to me, I believe that they want to see Cris take out Nunes.
Or vice versa.
Nunes take out Cris.
Exactly.
One or the other. But they know at this point they don't have another fighter that's going to take out either Nunes or Cris at their current divisions.
It's proven.
So they have to pit them against each other to make them take one of because somebody's got to win.
And this is going on in a lot of divisions there. And to circle back what you're saying about Amanda's team, I mean, she does train over at ATT. She is surrounded by a lot of guys, but Cris Cyborg's surrounded by, BJ Penn, Tito Ortiz. Those guys know what they're doing with promotion. Now, what did you think, Mercy? And this is going to be one of the last questions as we round up the last 5-10 minutes here. What did you think about that photo Amanda Nunes tweeted out of her signing the contract? That was actually another question that we got on Twitter today.
Somebody asked that.
And do you have who that was? to give them a shout out?
I'm trying to think of who asked me that.
I'll grab it real quick.
Somebody asked about the photo. And I know Cindy Dandos, they even tweeted about this photo. And my answer is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I'm very disappointed that Nunes, knowing her own situation, chimed in and bought into whatever Dana and them sold her. Because Nunes and Cris would have been stronger together. And not necessarily together as they're fighting on the same side, but in negotiations, yeah. If both fighters are on the same side, you're fighting against promotion to get the money. Yeah, you're on the same side at that point. You're only against each other in the cage. They should have been on the same side, asking for marketing, promotions, how they wanted to push it, and all of that. But to send out a contract, how you gonna send out a contract if you're claiming that your foot is still broken? And I even have the quote from Forbes.com, and it says that according to Forbes.com, the Brazilian MMA Athletic Commission issued a suspended 180 days with 180 days no contact. Nunes needs an x-ray of her right foot. If the x-ray is normal, the suspension is 30 days with no contact. Cris wrote on Champ Chris's account, it was posted 7/19/2018 at 14:54. Just received a call from UFC. Ed Amanda Viola is medically cleared, free cyborg, UFC 228, and she had a photo, it wasn't dated, of Nunes on some sort of bike. Now, if you out bike riding after you just got a medical suspension for your foot, why are you signing a contract? What does that even mean? If your foot is broken, how are you sure that your foot is even going to be healed come December? You don't know. Look at Rocky. Rocky broke her leg and then re-broke it. Let's not forget, Rocky was out for like a year and a half waiting for her leg to heal when she broke it, because it was broken in a car accident or something like that. So Cris is supposed to wait from the time that UFC decided to be messy. And yes, Cyborg Nation, send your messages to Nick Maynard 2. Make sure you got it right, Nick Maynard 2. Yeah. At Dana White to let him know that this is some messy nonsense. And they should have never sent Nunes a contract. If they sent her one, I don't even know if that was a real contract. All we saw was a picture.
They're saying, D is saying that was Nunes' girlfriend that posted the contract. But Nina, answer off.
So they sent it to the girlfriend, and the girlfriend does her dirty work, just like I speak up for Cris. Yeah. Her girlfriend speaks up for her. I mean, come on. We know what the deal is. Just like they posted that Nunes was 162 pounds. Well, if she's 162 pounds right now, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, didn't she just tweet that out? She tweeted out like,
that out. If you are 162 pounds right now,
let me see if I can find it.
Cindy Dandos just said she walks around at 162 pounds. Bam, and all these other fighters that fight at featherweight are saying that's about what they walk around at. So what exactly are we waiting for? What weight are we waiting for you to bulk up to? Like,
yeah, didn't one of the fighters actually say that? I saw you retweet that. One of the fighters tweeted out, was like, yeah, we walk around. Who was that said that?
That was Cindy.
Cindy said, okay.
I walk around at that. We walk around the same. You don't need 6 months to bulk up. If you're at 162, so that's why that picture made no sense. That's why I keep calling them the picture stunts. The picture made no sense at all. Why would you tweet that? And then I had some fighter from some unknown organization. I have no idea, but he's got a blue check mark. So just shout out to you. Yes, he tweeted that Cris posted a picture of her weight at 170 at some point in his career, because he doesn't even remember when she posted it, but whenever, okay, because she definitely walks around lighter now. But what does that have to do with anything? Has nothing to do with about Amanda Nunes, who is saying she needs 6 months to bulk up and get ready to fight Cris. Posting that picture means that you are at featherweight weight. I mean, you are. What are we waiting for?
And I'll retweet that as well. And to get back to that question about this whole photo, it was from Jan G at JSUSANG_2018. Also, D in the chat room here is saying it's Bfield999 David. So shout out to you, D. Thanks for tuning in. And Jessica
What
Mandel.
is David? I know who that is.
And Jessica Mandel says they won't promote anyone that doesn't fit their bullshit image. Sad. And you know what? There's a lot of fans out there that feel this way.
Yeah, they won't.
Look at
That's how come I said it's not necessarily Cris versus Nunes. They don't promote either one of them. All I'm saying is that Cris is very much more successful at selling her fights than Nunes is.
And that's huge.
She's got a strong team. She's got a strong fan base. And we go out and we promote and we help Cris sell her fights. Nunes does not do that, and therefore she should not be in the position of calling a shot when she's the challenger.
And
I think everybody forgets that this is not a champ versus champ fight. This is not a super fight.
And I like
Nunes is challenging Cris for the 145 featherweight belt.
And this is going
You
on.
are challenging for the belt. You are the challenger. You the B side. There is no. This is not equal.
And
This is not an equal situation. There's no way in the world that the challenger should be calling out the shots to the champ. How? How does that work? And she's injured, and we don't know when her foot is going to be healed. What are we talking about? Like I said, Pam Sorensen, Sandy Dandos, Adina Gomez, all ready to fight right now today. Cyborg Nation, Team Cyborg, ready to pay their money to see champ fight today. We don't want to wait till December, because maybe in December, Nunes is not going to be healed. And then what? How much longer we got to wait then? No, we want to see champ fight.
yeah, so
We
yeah,
don't care who.
we're
It doesn't
recording
have to
this
be Nunes.
right now. It is May, June, July, August. We're in August right now. August, September, October, November, December. That's still 4 months away. That's a long time off. But here to back up Amanda Nunes on this one, she usually does fight in December. Look at UFC 200. Her last few fights have all
We
been
also
in.
know that she went right up until her last fight, almost up till her fight date, and then said she had a sinus problem.
Yeah, I
Which she
remember that.
already knew that she had. I mean, she's not a dependable fighter. I wouldn't be putting my paycheck for the whole year on the line
It's iffy.
waiting on Amanda Nunes.
Dana
I'm
White.
sorry, I wouldn't.
Dana White has even been quoted saying, "I will never put Amanda Nunes as a frontliner,
On a back
headliner
burner
again." Yeah.
So why would you put a reliable, somebody that's reliable, somebody that's coming to save fights for you? You're gonna make her wait to defend her belt. She wants to defend her belt in her division right now.
Here's the issue, though,
got
Mercy.
Available fighters right now, and she has to somehow wait for somebody who's not even ranked as a featherweight. Let's not forget, Amanda's not a featherweight. She isn't ranked as a featherweight. She's fought as a featherweight, but she's not ranked as featherweight. So somehow the champ has to wait for somebody who's not technically the number one contender. What? That's ridiculous.
Well, listen, we saw the issue with when they matched up Kunzakaya again. Remember, we couldn't remember her name. It was Kunzakaya. We saw the issue there, even though it was on a short notice fight. It didn't bring in that many viewers. The only fight that's going to bring in the total amount available right now in the UFC, I mean, the biggest female fight is definitely going to be Amanda Nunes versus Cris Cyborg. We do not want to wait till December, and we get a little nervous when, you know, she's been pulled out before. So I totally understand the issue here.
Nobody's saying that they can't fight in December. Cris got 0 days of suspension her last fight. 0.
SMS
She got
production.
0 days of medical suspension after the Holly Holm fight. 0. And that went 5 rounds. 0. It's no way you can tell me that anybody Cris is getting ready to fight, that it's not more likely that Cris is ready to fight in December than Nunes with a foot injury, an unknown, unspecified foot injury that we need to send some ace bandages for, which answers our last question, just so I can get it in, from at Susang _2018. Her question was, has Nunes been medically cleared for her foot? Shocked when Nunes tweeted and called out Cris with a photo of her signing the UFC 223 bout. Even though Waldo, which that's the inside joke too with Cyborg Nation, y'all clowning. Even though Waldo would be in her UFC debut, we'd like to see her versus Cris before Nunes. She claims to see holes in Chris's game, lots of quote-unquote talk, etc. Also, when will Nunes' care package ship? So let's talk about Nunes' care package. Nation is coming. B-Field 999 and Al, who we talked about earlier, almost 715, sent me some great ideas. If you guys have some for what to include in the package, be sure you get them in to me soon, because he's sending the Cyborg Nation fan club package to Nunes this week, and I'll be posting the tracking info.
That's exciting. That's fun. See, stuff like that's fun. That's why I love the community here. I love the community. And you know what? Right now, this is the time to embrace stuff like this. It makes you feel alive. This is the importance of living, which gets us back to why we are in love with the sport in the first place. It makes us feel alive. There's things, there's anticipation. There's things that we are just not clear of that we want to find out, like Ronda Rousey fighting Cris Cyborg. And now it's all the way up to, we've seen Holly Holm versus Cyborg. Now we need to see Amanda Nunes versus Cris Cyborg. That is what's going to make us feel alive once again. And this is very exciting. I want to thank you so much. And everybody that's been tuning in, SMS Production checking in here, and even Danielle Carano. Shout out to Danielle Carano at work right now tuning in. But SMS Production saying anyone's a contender.
Shout out to my friend, Bare Knuckle FC, at Bare Knuckle FC, on August 25th has a pay-per-view in Biloxi, Mississippi. Tickets are on sale now. And UFC's prior fighter Beck Rollins and Christina Ferrer both have fights at that event. And Devon Candy at Biggest Boss 20 has some fighters that she's ready to put on the show. So there we go. I said, let's go. Cyborg Nation, I love you. Make sure you send out your shout outs to Mick Mannert. Stop sending them to Sean Shell.
Yeah.
Send them to Mick Mannert 2 and to Dana White. Let them know it doesn't have to be the Nunes fight. We can do the Nunes fight later. Who cares? We don't want to talk about that right now. We want to see Champ Cris fight right now.
SMS Production is saying,
we got fighters ready to fight right now.
Yeah.
So let them know.
SMS Production is tuning in saying anyone's a contender at women's featherweight. And it's totally true. Totally true.
It is. That's true. I'm not debating that.
That's just how it is right now. There's only a handful of people,
But what I will say about that, because I kind of feel like that's some shade shown towards the fact that I said that Amanda isn't a contender. She's not, because she hasn't fought at 145 in forever. So if we had to put her in the rankings, you can't rank her above say Holly Holm, Pam Sorensen, Cindy Dandos, Donna Gomez. I mean, these are people that have been fighting. Leah Letson, they've been fighting at 145. So you can't just throw somebody in and say, oh, well, they're better. It only works because we're saying it's a champ versus champ fight. But technically it's not the way UFC is setting it up. It's a champ versus challenger fight.
Listen,
challenging Cris for her belt.
And I see Cris tweeted something out. I was scrolling through Instagram right now as we're doing the video cast here, and Cris tweeted this out. I don't know exactly when, but it says UFC featherweight and has a picture of all the female featherweights that you're just mentioning, even Anderson here, Megan Anderson. And Cris said, just because the girls fighting at 145 have not yet been signed to UFC, does not mean there are no girls in that weight class. Like me, the girls have spent years. Like me, that's
our chance, because that is true. Because Megan was trying to say it earlier, because I guess real quick, at Invicta 30, what's her name? Phenom 30 or something like that. She won at 145. and she called out Megan. And because she called out Megan, then Megan sent the tweet back to say, "Oh, well, don't use my name to call me out and to get a contract with UFC." And the completely hilarious thing about that is, I was at the event in Vegas at the women's event where Cris and Megan faced off and took a picture, and Cris helped promote Megan to get into UFC for a fight, and that was supposed to be for 214. Megan was still an Invicta fighter, so she's being completely contradictory, and that's why she's still Waldo. Because where is Waldo Anderson, Carmen Sandiego? Where you at? Because you're really acting up right now. You can't hate on these younger fighters. They're just trying to get where you're trying to get to. That's the answer. They're trying to get to where you are. They're not haters. Nobody's trolling you. Nobody's doing whatever it is that you came up with. They're just trying to get a shot, just like you got one. And you got a shot because Cris gave you a shot. That's really what happened. Let's not forget, Cyborg gave you a shot. All the 145 fighters, anybody fighting at 145 is fighting at 145 because of Cris Cyborg. Ronda was fighting because of Cris. There was no drama without Cris. They used her name. So on that note, I love you all, and hopefully it was fun. And I'll be back to talk to you all again.
This has been a blast, Mercy. I mean, all right, so just to back up, we were only supposed to do about 20 minutes. This has been such a good conversation that I am so glad we just hit the hour mark here, because there was so much to discuss. There was so much that we need to get off our chest. This has been bothering so many people out there. To see you guys ranking in on Twitter, to see you guys ranking in here on Pure Evil MMA, it's just amazing to see the excitement going around, twirling, and to be able to have this platform here on Pure Evil MMA to talk about it. I want to thank you so much, Mercy, because you've been doing so much for the female division, even outside of Cris Cyborg. You guys don't realize how important you are. Every tweet that you send out, the motives that you have, it's just embracing the sport. You're helping people get the edge of your seat.
I don't want to see anybody beat the champ. That's not what I'm looking for. But I still support Pam and Pam Sorensen and Cindy Dandos and Adina and Faith Duran and Megan Anderson. I still support all of them because I want to see them all do well, because women are not all one size. We need 145 and bigger. Exactly. So I say, let's go. And come on, Cyborg Nation, let them hear you. So
before we end this chat, it's so important that you give out the hashtags, as well as me giving the shout out to you on Twitter for people to follow you at Cyborg Nation 01 on Twitter. You are at this every single day, and you talk with all the rest of Cyborgs fans. You put up some amazing arguments, and it's a lot of fun. So guys, make sure you go follow Mercy at Cyborg Nation 01. Mercy, where else can people find you?
They can, I really only do Twitter, so you guys can find me at Cyborg Nation 01. But I see you all the time. I'll talk to you. Just please don't troll me. But
trolls get blocked.
We can argue any day, anytime. Free Cyborg is the newest hashtag, which is the hilarious one that I spit the other day when Cyborg's account posted it. But it's Free Cyborg. Free Cyborg, Cyborg Nation, Team Cyborg, and I'm Mercy, and I'm out.
Thank you so much, Mercy. Have a great day. Behave yourself. Here we go. We got Mercy from Team Cyborg, and I see the chat room checking in. Eddie Ann said, hi, bro. Thanks, Mike. Henry Ford, thank you for tuning in. SMS Production. Hell yeah, man. Happy to see you in here. Make sure to give their channel a follow. Danielle Carano checking in. D, Jessica Medell, Henry Ford. I mean, thank you. The MMA holes even checking in. If you're not following the MMA holes, you're crazy. Go follow them. They go live every Wednesday night. Just to answer your questions here, guys, I've been getting asked a lot, when is Pure Evil MMA live? Because people just see me pop up and they're like, oh, Eddie's live. Listen, every Tuesday night, we are doing Talk Tuesdays. All right? We're doing Talk Tuesdays. If it's going to be any other time that I'm going to be going live, it's Saturday. Unless there's an event, I will always be going live Saturday. But Sunday as well, if there's an event, I'll be talking about the recap. For today, we had the guest for Cyborg Nation here. I know that we just had UFC Hamburg, which was an amazing event if you were over in Hamburg. But if you were watching at home early this morning, it was kind of a drag to get through. The Justin Ledet fight, though, that was absolutely insane. Every round scored 10-8 from 2 judges. Justin Ledet being a good sport about it. I'll try to have him on the show this week, give him a couple of days to recover after this. I wonder what was going wrong with him. To back up even more, I mean, going into this fight when he landed in Hamburg, his luggage was lost. That could throw your mindset completely off. We've all been there where it's just like one thing. Like, you got to remember, these guys are going through weight cutting. They're irritable, and they're very vulnerable to their emotions when you're at that stage. You got to remember that. So I don't know what was going on there, but every round 10-8, absolute beating. Outside of that, the main event where we had Shogun Rua get knocked out by Anthony Lionheart Smith was just amazing to watch. I mean, Anthony Lionheart Smith just pounding out legends here. Rashad Evans, gone. Shogun Rua, gone. Shogun Rua, I mean, it's understandable, but he was on a 4-year winning streak, which is just, it's crazy. It was like 3 years and 8 months to the day, something like that, which is just crazy. I wasn't surprised that Lionheart Smith won. And to give a shout out to our UFC Pick'em League, I'm so upset that we are going to be closing Pick'em after UFC 227, August fucking 4th. I'm literally so upset about this, but let me give a shout out to the people who won in the Pure Evil MMA Pick'em League. And just a quick reminder, guys, we are going to be going either to Tapology or Verdict. I will let you know, so make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. Use hashtag Pure Evil MMA to interact and engage with the rest of the Pure Evil MMA army out there. Like Ann, like Mike, like Pat, like Leslie, like Misty, like Rusty, like Barry, like all of y'all. I see you. Thank you so much for all of the support. I've been having a blast. Steve Riccardi just came on from the Jersey Boys MMA to break down this card. I had an amazing conversation with him. I was just on Fight Night Picks with Craig Allen, who sent me an amazing shirt. I mean, things are awesome right now in 2018, moving to 2019. Doing a show with UFC's James McSweeney. Hearing Big Brown give James McSweeney a shout out on the show this week. I was so excited. But guys, we have a campaign going on right now, teespring.com/Pure Evil MMA swag, where you can get stickers for $4. You can get mugs for $11, t-shirts for $19. We got girls tees. We got them in all different colors. I actually really like the purple tank tops. All the money goes into the studio here. Recently getting a microphone. We got the new camera. We got the sign behind us. We got pictures framed, hung up. We got 3 new goldfish here. We got the GoPro. I mean, we got the hookup. And it's all thanks to our fans. You guys can never see those fish. But yeah, in case you guys want to know, all 3 of them are still alive. We got Princey. Not Princey. Whoa, Princey's still alive. But we actually had to put down Pepper this week. So thank you guys who I did let know about that, because it came as late news to me with the whole thing that's been going on between me and the one we shall not. But nonetheless, we got Bella and Princey as well in studio. I had to move them over there because they keep licking their water bottle. But make sure you follow me on Instagram if you want to see some behind the scenes information. See what I'm up to in my daily life. Pure Evil MMA _. It's a new Instagram. The UFC has banned my last Instagram. I got blocked, and it's all my own content. It's not like I share highlight videos where I'm sitting there with my GoPro. Anything I ever share on Instagram is from Instagram or my own content. So I was a little pissed off, lost thousands of followers. So if you're just not realizing that I'm not on Instagram anymore and you think I blocked you, you're wrong. So hopefully you're tuning in and you know that's not the case. And you can follow me at Pure Evil MMA _ now on Twitter. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here. I'm Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, my MMAnews.com. White knuckles to the end. And remember, there's no purity without evil. Behave yourselves.